Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברחים גם יחד. 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 How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברחים גם יחד. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this stage. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב
Shabbat Shalom. We turn to page 142 for a song of welcome.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyonim, Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Vo'achem L'Shalom. Vo'achem l'shalom, malachei ha'shalom, malachei elyon, melech malachei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Shalom aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyonim, Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shuvchem l'shalom, Shuvchem l'shalom, Malachei
Indeed, Shalom Aleichem. Greetings of peace and warmth and friendship to each and every one of you here in our sanctuary and each and every one of you joining us via the live stream on YouTube and Facebook and on our website. We wish you Shabbat Shalom. I'm Rabbi Michael Friedman, so pleased to be joined by Rabbi Zach Pleasant, Cantor Julia Cadrain, by Mike and Yusuf and Eric and Sean and Lester, all of our team here at Temple Israel. This is a Shabbat of great joy for many reasons. Some of us are very joyful about the summer-like weather. Spring has finally arrived in Connecticut. Some of us are very excited to once again be able to eat pasta and pizza and muffins and bread now that Passover has concluded. I know that the Hecker and Halpert family is so excited to be here to celebrate Lucy's bat mitzvah tomorrow. You all should know that Lucy's three older siblings, Oscar and Ella and Owen, together were scheduled to have a b'nai mitzvah ceremony in the spring of 2020 that ended up getting shifted fully to Zoom. I know, wah, wah. But now you are all here, present, healthy, in person with us, so there's like an extra measure of joy to this celebration. And whether you have been here for years, or this is your first time joining us in person or via live stream, we want you to know that you've always belonged right here. So now, we begin to celebrate Shabbat together by inviting Lucy to light the Shabbat candles, page 120 in your prayer books.
This is a Shabbat of great joy, and still sometimes we're not quite ready when Shabbat first arrives to shift into a joyful place and a peaceful place. And our service helps us do that, and singing together helps us do that. This next section of our service we call Kabbalat Shabbat. Welcoming Shabbat is what that means. And it contains psalms of praise, which is really just an invitation to sing together and to make some sound. Whether you think you're a good singer or a bad singer or a medium singer, you get a benefit from singing, which is that it lowers your heart rate and slows your breathing and actually calms you down. So I want to invite you to make some sound with us tonight, whether it's your first time or you've been with us hundreds of times, whatever you think about your voice. And you can sing Lai 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 or hum along if the words are unfamiliar. So we'll turn now to page 648 together. Page 647.
At the very foot of the page.
My strength and my song come from you. My strength and my song, my strength and my song, my strength and my song come from you. My strength and my song, my strength and my song, my strength and my song, my strength and my song come from you.
It was at precisely this hour on Friday afternoon, as evening approached and the sun would sink toward the horizon, that the mystics, the rabbis and their followers in the northern Israeli town of Tzfat would leave their dwellings, would leave the synagogue and go out into the orchards to greet Shabbat as the last rays of sunlight filtered through the branches, touched the flowers and the grasses, and warmed their faces. And they wrote the poem that we can find on page 138 and 139, and they set it to music. We know it as Lecha Dodi, Come Our Shabbat Beloved. We'll sing verses 1, 2, and 5, and then rise and face the entrance of the sanctuary for the 9th verse.
Kabbalat
Page 146. Having been buoyed by music and song, we now resume our ongoing conversation with God, offering a call and listening for the response. Baruch Hu, page 146.
Amos Oz writes, I know that the tide is not an independent force, but merely the submission of the water to the movement of the moon in its orbit. And this orbit in its turn is subject to other orbits, which are mightier far than it. And so the whole universe is held fast in the clinging grip of strong hands, the forces of earth and sun and planets and comets and galaxies, blindly erupting forces, ceaselessly stirring in ripples of silence to the very depth of black space. In praise of God's creation, Baruch Atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim.
Amen.
Baruch Atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Avayim. Page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Our prayer of freedom, of liberation, of redemption, Michamocha, is on page 158.
In our tradition, no time of joy is without a tinge of sadness as well. And so it is that with that in mind that I note that this week upcoming, the next few days, we will be observing Yom HaShoah, Day of Remembrance for the victims of the Holocaust. And so here at Temple Israel, our focus on the Holocaust is not about mourning only, but it's really about resilience and the pride that we have cultivated in the decades since that awful tragedy. So for the next segments of our service, we'll be offering some additional readings and poetry that are related to both Holocaust, but more importantly, pride and resilience. This one is by Yehuda Amichai, who, as a child refugee, escaped from Nazi Germany with his family in 1935, came to Jerusalem, lived there the rest of his life, and became sort of the poet laureate of the State of Israel. It's entitled Jerusalem, 1967. On Yom Kippur in 1967, the year of forgetting, I put on my dark holiday suit and walked to the old city of Jerusalem. For a long time, I stood in front of an Arab's hole-in-the-wall shop, not far from the Damascus Gate, a shop with buttons and zippers and spools of thread in every color, and snaps and buckles, a rare light and many colors, like an open ark. I told him in my heart that my father, too, had a shop like this with thread and buttons. I explained to him in my heart about all the decades and all the causes and the events and why I am now here, and my father's shop was burned there, and he is buried here. And when I finished, it was time for Ne'ilah, the closing of the gates. And he too lowered the shutters and locked the gate, and I returned with all the other worshipers home. We pray for God's peace over our holy city of Jerusalem at the foot of page 160.
Baruch atah, atah Adonai, haborei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah, atah Adonai, haborei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom.
Rabbi Leo Beck was a Reform rabbi in Berlin, and he was imprisoned in Theresienstadt. After the war, he wrote this recollection. We would assemble in the darkness. To light a candle there or even a match would have brought immediate disaster upon us. But we spoke about matters of the Spirit and eternal questions about God, about Jews in the world, about the eternity of Israel. And in the midst of the darkness, I sensed light, even in that unlit room, the light of Torah. We rise for the blessings of the Amida, page 164.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor HaNorah El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Hakol Vezocher Chastei Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav Le'Hoshia Morid HaTal Mechakel Chaim V'Chesed Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim V'Rofech Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem emunato lishenei afar Micha mocha ba'al gevurot Umido melach Melech memit umechaye Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechaye HaKol Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh U'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Yehalelucha Selah Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
We want to offer you the gift at this time of a few moments of quiet. Rare in our lives, right? And you can use it however you like. I know that some of us will want to continue the traditional words of the Amida through page 181, but you do not have to do that. You can find other words that are appropriate for whatever you're feeling right now, whether they're in this book or whether you put it aside and just allow yourself to be inspired by the beauty of this gathering and this Shabbat celebration. We'll take a few moments of quiet and then rejoin together. And you may be seated when you've completed your prayer.
Hana Senish. It's not just me. Hana Senesh. I don't hear the sound, but can you hear me? Can you hear my voice? Okay. Hana Senesh was a member of special Israeli forces who parachuted over enemy lines to help aid anti-Nazi forces in the 1940s. She was killed in the fight for freedom, and she left behind much beautiful music and poetry. This is her song, Eli Eli. You can find the words on page 653. Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer le'olam, ha'chol ve'hayam, rishru shamayim, verach hashamayim, tfilat Adam, ha'chol ve'hayam, rishru shamayim, verach hashamayim, tfilat Adam. Oh God, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart.
Each time we gather for Shabbat, it's appropriate that we offer a Misha Be'erach, a prayer for healing, as we wish resilience and strength upon all of those who are ill, injured, or in pain, as well as for all those who are caring for those who are ill, injured, and in pain. And so on page 371, we say, Misha Berach Avotenu v'Imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Layahu Yivarech v'Yirapeh et kol ha'cholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors in every generation, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all those who are ill. From our own Temple Israel community, well, I should say, if you would like to share a name of someone you're thinking of, a family member, a friend, a colleague, or a neighbor who's in need of a little bit of resilience and strength on this day, I invite you to share that name aloud at this time.
And if you're watching at home too, you can just say the name out loud or type it into the chat.
In addition to all those names that have been shared out loud or via technology, we add Gerald Backman, Gabby Buckman, Mary Wheeler Braun, John Burns, Alex Carr, Al Delardi, Frida Easton, Steve Elliott, Beth Field, Sue Flaum, Fred Friedman, Louise Friedman, Maurice Friedman, Jackie Fuchs, Roy Fuchs, Lanny Gans, Sandra Halperin, Jeff Helfand, Kenneth Kay, Sheldon Manspizer, Don Matthews, Harriet Koppelman-Mincheski, Alan Nevis, Robbie Regano, Nancy Selikoff, Marcia Silber, Stan Stern, Jill Stewart, Bernie Vagnini, Nancy Vega, Brian Wolf, Moshe Yaakov Ben Yocheved. And we sing these words of Misha Berach in the middle of page 371.
One of my favorite things to tell our B'nai Mitzvah kids when I work with them on their Divrei Torah, their drash, their speech that they're going to give at their bar or bat mitzvah, is that it is okay to disagree with the text. You are allowed to have a different opinion, and it is okay to say that the lesson you are taking away is to do the opposite of what our biblical ancestors may have done. For example, if you have 12 sons, perhaps, don't choose a favorite. One of the things that I love most about our tradition and our text is that although we read them over and over and over again each year, they can appear new and different each and every time. Since we change, we evolve, we respond to the world around us. So when I read this week's Torah portion, I decided to take a little bit of my own advice and, unusually for this Torah portion, disagree with the actions of one of our leaders. Parshat Shmini opens with the scene of a sacrifice at the altar, since we are, of course, in the book of Leviticus. Moses and Aaron make their sacrifice, and then Aaron's sons, Nadav and Avihu, make their sacrifices. Only they don't make a traditional sacrifice. They use some kind of alien fire, and ultimately they are consumed by it, and they die. The ancient rabbis tell us that God killed Aaron's sons for not following the precise ritual laws. And the next verse concludes with, Vayidom Aharon, and Aaron was silent. Rabbis have commented on Aaron's silence for hundreds of years, each offering various interpretations and understandings. And I previously have given multiple sermons about this exact verse with a lot of sympathy and compassion and love toward Aaron, who just watched two of his sons die. But tonight, this week, I react a little bit differently to the silence. Earlier this week, we learned of the senseless murder of 3 Israeli women in the West Bank, killed in their car on the way to family vacation. Horrific tragedies like this sometimes make us want to turn away or leave us feeling like Aaron, simply silent. But the father and husband of the victims released a statement earlier this week asking Israelis and Jews all around the world to speak up and to post a picture of an Israeli flag in a show of unity. This week, in this circumstance, to me, the lesson of Aaron's silence is quite simple. When it comes to Israel, we can't be silent too. In a sentence that is perhaps the biggest oversimplification of all time, Israel is quite a complicated place. It's divisive and challenging for some of us. For others, it might feel distant and irrelevant. Maybe for some of you, the stranglehold of the Orthodox Rabbanut makes Israel feel simply unwelcoming to Reform Jews. And yet, for many of us, at the same time, Israel is a home away from home, a place that we love deeply, a place where we make memories and connect to our ancestors, both literal or spiritual, a place we connect to our tradition, a place that lives Judaism. You have heard from my clergy colleagues quite a lot in the past few months as Israel wrestles with a government seemingly set on abandoning the foundations of their own democracy and are subsequently met with protests from tens of thousands of their citizens. But for all of us, Israel is an inextricable part of our lives as American Jews. And as heart-wrenching as many of these events might be, we shouldn't shy away from any of them. Why? Well, the relationship between Israel and American Jewry is a symbiotic one. The actions of the state of Israel impact us, and ours impact them. We are a part of this conversation because whether or not we choose to be actively involved, we will be included simply because we are Jews. So, therefore, we should, I think, be a part of this conversation and have some agency over our part of that conversation. And Israel is our homeland. It is a place where we can always go and feel at home. It is a home for the Jews, which is a remarkable sentence after thousands of years of our not having a sovereign land in which we could govern ourselves. So this week, when we read of Aaron's silence, we acknowledge that we cannot be. So what do we say? Well, I certainly do not have all of the answers, but to me, the importance of not being silent is not actually to find answers, but rather in true rabbi form, it's that we ask questions. It's that we engage. It's that we step forward, that we step up, and that we become a part of the conversation. So let us step forward and grieve and mourn with the community of Israel as it responds this week to this senseless act of terror and violence. Let us step up and make our voices heard as Reformed Jews and Israelis of all stripes continue to speak up and speak out for the sake of democracy and for Jewish values in the state of Israel. And more locally, step forward Sunday evening and join us for a conversation with Israel scholar and thinker Danny Gordis at 5 p.m. on Zoom, where you can be a part of this conversation and learn about what is happening on the ground in Israel for all of us. And celebrate with us as we honor and acknowledge Israel's 75th birthday, 75th anniversary of Yom HaShoah, the initial day of Israel declaring independence. We have plenty of events going on in the next month to commemorate this special occasion with, I am told, a postcard to come in the mail. And not just step forward or step up, but come with us to Israel. We are taking a congregational trip. We are so excited to be offering a congregational trip to Israel this December 20th, I believe we leave, tiwestport.org/Israel. But there's no better way to understand the complexities of Israel, to get involved in the conversation than to be there with your Temple Israel community and your Temple Israel clergy. So come with us to Israel this winter. There's so many different ways to be a part of this conversation. We should engage in discussion, in prayer, in community events, Monday evening, Yom HaShoah at TCS. Even go to Israel ourselves. And we don't have to have all of the answers. In fact, we might even walk away from a conversation with more questions than we started with. But that's okay. In this case, with Israel, silence is not the proper response. So tonight, may each one of us commit to trying just a little bit, not to back away, to engage more, to ask more questions, to deepen our relationship with Israel, both as it is now and as we hope it will one day become. Keni Hiratzon, may it be God's will.
Yasher Koach.
יש כוכבים שאורם מגיע ארצה, רק כאשר הם עצמם עבדו ואינם. יש אנשים שזיו זכרם מאיר, כאשר הם עצמם אינם עוד מתוכנו. שמראים לאדם את הדרך, את הדרך.
Page 595, at the foot of the page. These words that Cantor just sang so beautifully and that we're about to share are also words of Hannah Senesh. There are stars up above, so far away that we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. And as we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember on this Shabbat, first, those who have passed most recently from our Temple Israel community. If anyone is here observing Shiva or Shloshim, the first 7 or 30 days of mourning for a loved one or family member or friend, we invite you to rise and share their name aloud at this time. And same for those who are joining us via the live stream. If you'd like to share a name for Shiva or Shloshim at this time, we invite you to do so. As a congregation, we're in the midst of Shiva and Shloshim for Florence Blum, mother of Stephen, Robert, and Esther Horn, and Jeremy Horn, and grandmother of Leo, Allegra, and Ben. For Brandon Gillespie, son of Karen and Bob, husband of Roseanne, father of Connor, brother of Evan, and of Stanley Nair, father of Jonathan and Renee, David and Wendy, grandfather of Craig, Jason, Stephanie, Josh, and Rebecca, and great-grandfather of Jameson, Alexandra, Sylvie, and Ezra. Tonight, if you're observing Yartzeit, the anniversary of a loss, and would like to share a name aloud, we invite you to rise and do so at this time. Congregation, we also observe the yard sites on this Shabbat of Arlene Baldecki, Audra Bass, Ann Bauer, Martin Buddy Brecker, Anna Chinitz, Mary Cobb, Lillian Crystal, Erwin Fireman, Harold First, Jack Glickman, Pearl Pepper Golden, Faith Goldberg Haleparn, Leo Heller, Evelyn Holtz, Samuel Kirschenbaum, Dorothy Cohn, Martin Lander, Anna Lebo, Leon Lipman, Alex Michelson, Irene Ozer, Harris Picard, Natalie Florence Pozell, Mildred Reiner, Ruth Samuels, Jeffrey Ronald Simmons, Celia Sosnick, Edith Sussman, Thelma Weinstein, Sherman Weiser, and Philip Zenner. Are there any other additional names for Kaddish this evening? And so now we invite the entire congregation to rise. And we turn to page 598 as we say, Zichronam Livracha, may the memories of all we hold dear always be a blessing. And we share these words of Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lamei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom bimromav, uyasei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. May the Holy One of Blessing, who creates harmony in the heavens above, bring peace to us, to the entire people of Israel, and to all humanity. And we say together, Amen. We want to thank all of you for joining us here in person and all of you for joining us via the live stream. And we want to invite Lucy to join us up here on the bima, as it were. Come on. I know it's not far, but come join us here. We're going to grab a little Kiddush wine. It's really just juice. So you can go back down to Cantor and Rabbi. Bring one more for Cantor. There we go. Okay. So that we'll have a little bit of juice and challah. You've eaten through all the matzah in your house by now, I'm sure. Oh, yes. Oh, and the page. Yes, the text. Thank you. Right. Thank you. Okay. And we do hope, as Rabbi said, that you will join us for all of the many events surrounding Yom HaTzmaut, Israel's 75th anniversary, and also Yom HaShoah to be observed this Monday evening at TCS at 7 p.m. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu Zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher litziyat Mitzrayim ki vanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta v'kol ha'amim V'shabbat kodshecha, v'yahava u'ratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat l'chaim.
All right, you can have a little sip. Okay, well, here we go. And you get the knife, Lucy. You can I'll take this. You can cut a few slices. You can cut a few slices for your family, and we'll sing the Motzi together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Keep going. There we go. Okay, you can bring those to your family. Dear God, may we never remain silent where the interests of our family, our people of Israel, and the goodness of humanity is concerned. May we find the right words always to share your truth. Amen and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.